The Vermont Agency of Education presents this module, an overview of comprehensive needs assessments. There are three intended outcomes for this module. First, viewers will understand the purpose of a comprehensive needs assessment, particularly as it relates to continuous improvement planning. Second, viewers will be able to identify the four main stages of a comprehensive needs assessment and will gain familiarity with some specifics of each. And third, viewers will be introduced to a few resources to support conducting comprehensive needs assessments and the continuous improvement process in general in their schools or LEAs. So what is a comprehensive needs assessment? Well, this question has been answered in several ways, and here are a couple of examples. A comprehensive needs assessment is the first step in developing any continuous improvement plan. It's a process of looking at data about districts or schools to learn what has occurred, is occurring, and needs to occur to improve student outcomes. And a comprehensive needs assessment promotes a culture of reflection, collaborative inquiry, deep learning, and shared responsibility for improvement. Both are true, and they have a couple of key factors in common. First, both describe a process of learning about a school or school system's current state. And second, both describe a process that occurs before and supports actions towards improvement. Think of a comprehensive needs assessment this way. Sometimes we go to the grocery store without looking in the fridge or in the cupboard. We don't pull out any recipes, and we don't make a list. How's that usually turn out? We wander the aisles, we take a guess at whether or not we need milk, we forget a couple of things, and we grab some odds and ends. And chances are, we'll be back at the grocery store pretty soon. On the other hand, if we take an inventory of the food that we have in the house, plan some meals, and have a list to guide our shopping, our trips to the store turn out a lot differently. We shop efficiently, and we end up with a cart full of the things that we need. Preparing for improvement through a comprehensive needs assessment is a lot like going to the grocery store with a list. If we're going to take the time, expend the energy, and spend the money, we should make sure that we're getting what we need, especially with student learning on the line. Conducting a comprehensive needs assessment is a systematic but flexible process consisting of these essential steps. First, teams prepare for collaborative inquiry by assembling a needs assessment team, establishing common understandings of school or school district beliefs and goals, and conducting a broad overview of their data. Next, teams refine their needs assessment by focusing their work on specific areas of the data, arriving at priority problems of practice. From there, teams analyze root causes, identifying the essential system components and practices, or drivers, that are having the greatest impact on their problems of practice. And finally, the team writes specific goals and determines change ideas to pilot and ways to measure whether or not these innovations are actually leading to improvement. The first step in preparing for collaborative inquiry is to assemble a group of stakeholders to collaborate with. A comprehensive needs assessment can be conducted by a pre-existing team, though additional participants or input might be sought in order to represent as much of the school community as possible. School staff, students when appropriate, parents, administrators, school board, and community members each bring unique and important perspectives to the process. Next, the team develops or revises a shared vision to guide their work. A shared vision is a written statement of your team's common goals for school and student outcomes. If your school or district already has a shared vision, this step might just involve introducing it to your stakeholders, checking for agreement, and possibly making minor revisions. Finally, the process of identifying specific goals and change ideas for improvement begins by assembling a broad overview of school system or school level data, representing a wide range of practices and outcomes. Briefly, most schools and LEAs collect four types of data: demographic data, student outcomes, school process data, and perceptions data. Collecting, presenting, and analyzing data can be daunting for staff members with limited experience in these areas. Teams should consider supplementing the data literacy of their staff using traditional and digital resources. The Education Quality and Continuous Improvement Framework lists some potential supports. The second stage in conducting a comprehensive needs assessment is determining problems of practice, beginning with the selection of focus areas. Focus areas are general areas of need revealed during the broad data overview. They provide an initial direction for a deeper data analysis. Let's use lagging science outcomes over the past 3 years as an example. With a focus area or areas agreed upon, the team identifies and collects additional data related to this area as needed. From there, the team makes factual observations about the data. These observations should be free of assumptions or biases, describing indisputable points, discrepancies, patterns, or trends in the data. Once you have a clear picture of the facts revealed by the data, move on to making inferences about what these facts are telling you. When sufficient data has been collected, observations made, and inferences drawn, a problem of practice within the focus area is identified. In the case of our science outcomes focus, let's say that scores in the discipline of physical sciences have been noticeably lower than in other areas. In the light of time and resource limitations, it's often necessary for teams to prioritize their problems of practice. When prioritizing problems of practice, ask yourselves, which unmet student needs have we uncovered, and which are the most important to address? With a problem of practice identified, the team digs further into the data through a root cause analysis. This process begins by proposing and prioritizing drivers. Drivers are the components of the system believed to have influence on your problem of practice. Identifying these factors can be based on research or experience, supported by local data. From our example, what aspects of the system might be impacting the teaching and learning of physical sciences? Some examples might be aspects of the curriculum, teacher content knowledge, or student interest. Once all ideas are on the table, the team should prioritize those drivers that they believe are having the greatest influence. Let's prioritize student interest, based on conversations with some of our kids. With a priority driver chosen, ask why the current state of this driver exists, until the fundamental cause, the roots, have been reached. Why is student interest low? Could it be a lack of past exposure, perceived difficulty of the material, the absence of real-world context for their learning? Asking these questions, then generating data to uncover their answers, will lead you to the root causes of your problem of practice. When planning for change, the team transforms their priority problems of practice into goal statements that represent their desired outcomes for improvement. Goals for improvement should be specific and measurable, describing what will be improved, by how much, by when, and for whom or in what settings. For example, by June of 2020, we will increase the average 7th grade subscore in the discipline of physical sciences by 20% on the state science assessment. If you've successfully identified the root causes of your current outcomes and specific goals for improvement, determining logical change ideas becomes fairly straightforward. Typically, change ideas originate in 3 places: knowledge of the research, knowledge of past practices that have been effective, or through the design of new ideas. What's one change idea that a team could pilot in order to increase student interest in physical sciences? How about an annual physical sciences fair as an opportunity for student-driven, project-based learning? Now, in order to determine the effectiveness of a change idea, it's essential that you not only have a clear, measurable goal for success, but also methods to assess progress formatively and to monitor for unintended consequences along the way. A family of 3 measurement types, outcome measures, process measures, and balancing measures, can be used to maximize the effectiveness of your team's continuous improvement efforts. Outcomes are what you ultimately hope to achieve with your change idea. In the case of our example, an increase in student interest in the physical sciences. A pre- and post-survey of fair participants would be one way to measure this. A process measure is a measure of how well you've implemented your change idea. This can serve to drive decision-making before outcomes data is available. In this case, the number of students who sign up to participate is a good indicator of implementation and can serve to predict your outcome. If no one signs up, chances are that it won't support your desired outcome of increased interest. And finally, balancing measures are measures of unintended consequences of a change idea. We use balancing measures with appreciation for the complexity and interconnectedness of our system. In our example, if student time and energy are spent on preparing for a physical sciences fair, and interest in physical sciences is growing, will students be less likely to participate in the yearly code night? While working through the stages of a comprehensive needs assessment, your team will gain increasingly specific insight into the improvement needs of your school or school system. This collective learning is used to create a theory of improvement. A theory of improvement describes the structures and processes that the team believes need to be addressed in order to meet an improvement goal, as well as specific change ideas to foster this growth. The driver diagram is a convenient method for organizing your theory of improvement and should be completed in conjunction with your comprehensive needs assessment, becoming a record of learning and a roadmap for implementation. The Education Quality Assurance team has developed an optional comprehensive needs assessment toolkit to assist school system and school teams in completing this process. This document provides brief descriptions of each stage of a needs assessment with accompanying tools included. While use of the Agency of Education's process for conducting a needs assessment is not mandated, it was developed to be efficient and complete and to satisfy the requirements of Phase 1 of Vermont's Continuous Improvement Plan template. The Education Quality Assurance team is in the ongoing process of creating and collecting resources to support conducting comprehensive needs assessments and the entire continuous improvement process. Visit the Education Quality Assurance team page of the Vermont Agency of Education website regularly for additional modules, updated documents, tools, and links. Thanks, and have a great year.